we're going to explore a fundamental shift in how we understand the health of our most critical infrastructure. It's about moving away from guesswork and stepping into a world of absolute certainty. Think about them for a second. The skyscrapers, the bridges, the energy pipelines that power our world. They're the very backbone of our economy. And while they're all built to last, they're under constant, invisible stress. And the biggest risks? Well, they're almost always the ones you can't see. And that really is the question, isn't it? As a leader, how can you be truly confident in the health and safety of an asset when you're only ever seeing a small piece of the puzzle? You know, that uncertainty, that's a massive and often unquantified business risk. To get a handle on this, we first need to look at the limitations of how we do things now. Relying on manual inspections or sensor readings that are taken, say, weekly or maybe even daily, you completely miss the plot, the subtle changes that warn you something big is about to happen. You're constantly reacting to what's already happened instead of seeing what's happening right now. Now, what's really fascinating is that every single structure has its own unique signature. You can almost think of it as a heartbeat, and that heartbeat is its vibration. This signature is a direct reflection of its health, and it's defined by its materials, its shape, and its overall integrity. Any change to that signature, no matter how small, is a warning sign. So, the obvious question is, how do we listen to that heartbeat constantly and clearly? Well, the answer lies in a totally new way of sensing that takes us from occasional checkups to a state of permanent awareness. And this, right here, is the breakthrough. Imagine swapping those few random photos for a high-definition 24/7 live stream of your asset's health. This isn't just a small step forward, it's a giant leap that completely rewrites the rules of asset management. So how on earth is this even possible? We use light to understand the physical world with a level of precision we've just never had before. We call this photonic sensing. Basically, it's a non-contact technology that uses light to measure the absolute tiniest movements, things like vibrations and strain, all in real time and from a safe distance. What you get is a complete, dynamic, living picture of an asset's condition. Now, I know this sounds incredibly high-tech, but the core idea behind it is actually pretty simple. So let's just quickly walk through how this whole thing works. Okay, so first, a completely safe, low-power laser is pointed at the structure. As that asset vibrates, even on a microscopic level, it changes the properties of the light that bounces back. The system then detects these incredibly tiny changes in the light. And finally, all that data gets analyzed instantly, translating those light signals into a detailed, live health profile of that structure. When you put the old way and the new way side by side, the difference is just, it's night and day. Conventional methods give you periodic data from a few specific spots. Photonic sensing gives you continuous data over huge areas. We're talking hundreds of meters, all from one remote location. This is the jump from reacting to problems to actually predicting them. All right, the technology is impressive, for sure. But what does this new capability actually mean for the business? How does it translate into real, tangible value? Well, first and foremost, this is about taking risk off the table. This tech lets you spot things like tiny cracks or corrosion at the earliest possible moment. It can see the impact of external events in real time. And maybe most importantly, it lets you safely monitor places that are just too dangerous or difficult for people to go. And of course, the impact on the bottom line is just as significant. When you can predict failures before they happen, you all but eliminate costly, unplanned downtime. You can slash inspection costs, optimize your maintenance, and ultimately extend the life of your most valuable assets, all while making smarter decisions because you're using real-world data. And you might be wondering, is this for my industry? While the applicability here is incredibly broad, we're not talking about some niche solution. This is a foundational technology for pretty much any industry that relies on big, physical assets. So whether we're talking about the safety of bridges and dams, the integrity of energy pipelines, or the structural health of aircraft and railways, that fundamental need to see the invisible, it's universal. So what does this all mean for the future? Well, this technology isn't just a better sensor. It's the key to a completely new vision for what our infrastructure can be. Just let that sink in for a second. We are literally moving from a world where we go out and inspect our assets to a world where our assets tell us how they're doing, continuously and intelligently.
This is the dawn of truly smart, self-aware infrastructure. And this is probably the most powerful way to frame it. By combining the ability to feel vibration with the ability to hear acoustic signals, we are, in effect, giving our most critical structures a nervous system. We're allowing them to feel stress and to tell us when they're in distress long before a catastrophic failure.
So the final question I'll leave you with isn't if this technology is going to reshape our world, but rather, who is going to lead the way? Is your organization ready to build a safer, a more efficient, and a more intelligent future?